Hello everyone.
And for now, we can start with the data science session. Okay, so I think in last session we started with the Python basics, right? And we discussed about why we need Python. We also discussed about data types and variable and everything. So let me just share my screen so that we can start with the today's session. Okay. So in last session we discussed about this primitive data type and some collection and text data type. First, okay, before we start this session, just for the interaction to make it more interactive, just explain me why do we need data types? Any of you?
So data types are actually important as we need it to distinguish to perform specific functions. So if we do not know if it's a number or a string, so we will
Mm-hmm.
not be able to use arithmetic functions on it.
Okay, so that is for your understanding, right? Like, why do machine needs data type?
Yeah, it needs to actually distinguish between what the input it is getting.
Okay. Anything else, like something more than this?
It would only be able to perform regarded function like that particular function on it if it knew what data type it has.
Okay.
So that
Some,
is.
something related to storage, I mean space.
Yeah, in storage also, the data types assign different type of storage.
Yeah. Yes. So based on data types, it assign the storage in your memory. Okay. So first we have some primitive data type that we discussed in the last session, and on the right hand side we have some collections and some advanced data type. We discussed about list, tuple, set, dictionary, and string data type. In today's session we will discuss maybe in more detail what is the string data type, and we already discussed list. I mean here you can see that ordered and mutable. What is ordered? What is mutable? And what is unique, what is unordered. I hope it is clear to all of you. So just to summarize everything, a list, as you can see that for list we use this open this big bracket, and it is ordered. Ordered means it is indexed. Suppose if I want to access the first element or maybe second element, so I can directly access it by using the index of it. Okay, and in programming the index starts from 0. So the zeroth is the first indexed that is used to hold any element. For example, here the first element you can see is 1, and if I want to access this one I will have to use zeroth index. So like suppose if I have something like this, maybe 4 or 2, and I want to access 4, then for that I can use zeroth index, and if I want to access 2, then I can use first index, right? And similarly with tuple, and yeah, and also it is mutable. Mutable means we can change the value. So like if I want to change like what is at the index 1, so currently we have 2 at index 1. If we want to change it to maybe 20, then we can do this. But in case of tuple this is not allowed. Here you can see that tuple is represented as this. I mean, we use this bracket to show tuples, and tuples are also ordered. Ordered means you can access by using the index of every element, and also it is immutable. It immutable means you cannot change the value of these particular index, right? Now the next one is set. Set data type is something which is unique. I mean, if you want to have you want to create your class, and inside that class you want unique elements. Okay, for that purpose we use set data type, and in order to represent set data type we use this curly braces. Okay, and this is unordered. Unordered means it do not have any index. I mean, if you want to access to, you cannot do it using index. There are some other functions available that you can use to access it, but you cannot access it by using, I mean, directly index. Okay, now the last one is dictionary. uh, Dictionary is like it is basically a combination of key and value. here the by using the key you are searching for the value. Okay, so for example, as I explained in the last session also, if suppose your roll number is your key, and all the further details of you, like your class, your name, your first name, last name, father's name, all the other details are your values. Okay, so I mean these values can be I mean duplicate, means two people maybe can have the same name, but this key is something unique by using which you are searching for the value. Okay, so here in your case your roll number is unique, but further details maybe it is common for two people. So that is what dictionary is. The next one, okay, before we discussed about the assignment, we have to discuss this types. What is type converting and type check? What is this? Any of you, know about the type check? What all types of explicit typecasting, implicit typecasting? Are you aware of this? Okay, so just explain me the difference between implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting.
So, implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting is that implicit is done directly by the Python compiler, by Python,
Uh-huh.
and explicit we manually do. So, for example, we are taking an input and we write, we justify it that the input is taking in integer, int,
Mm-hmm.
int
Mm-hmm.
input. So that is
Mm-hmm.
explicit. Meanwhile, when we divide something by, like suppose we are dividing 2 by 1, so the
Mm-hmm.
output will be 2.0, that is float. So that is
Okay.
implicit typecasting.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, it is correct. Implicit typecasting is something that is done by the compiler, and explicit typecasting is done manually. I'll just show you through the code. I mean, here in this code, if you want to know what is the type of something, if I have declared a variable, for example, uh, this is a variable. Okay, in this I've assigned this value, and I have one more variable, and I've assigned its value as uh, 20.0. Now if I try to print the type of it, okay, suppose this is also 10. Okay, okay. So what do you think? What is going to be the type of both the printf statements? Int float. Okay, people are saying int float. Yeah, yes, correct. Since the first one is integer type. Okay, so the first one is of integer type, and the second one is of float type. Okay, now this is what uh, type. I mean, we are not doing any typecasting. This is the actual type of these variables. Now, what is explicit typecasting? Suppose we have maybe we are trying to convert this into integer data type and do this. What do you think? What is going to be the output now? So here instead of just this type of p, we have also used maybe here you can see. Now tell me what is the type of this. Okay, people are saying int. Yes. So this is what explicit typecasting is when you do the typecasting manually. So whenever you take any input from the user, for example, I'm asking for the age. Okay. So I am asking write down your age. Okay. And print this as type of age. What do you think the output of this statement? What is going to be the output of this code? suppose I have given age as 100, then string, but I'm writing 100. So why do you think it is going to be string? Now some of you have changed your answer to int. Okay, we did not typecast into int. Input command default to string data type. Yes. Okay. Always takes value string. Yes. Yeah, as you guys have explained, whenever we take any input from the user, the type is by default string, and this string can be converted into any other type by using the explicit typecasting. Okay, so for example, here I have this 100. I mean, I asked for the age, and then this age, if I try to print the type of this, then you can see that it is printing string data type, right? Yes, input always takes value in string. And now suppose if I want to use this as age, if I want to, suppose there is a statement that take the input from the user and print +5 of that age, then what, I mean, how we can do that? Since this is string, obviously we cannot perform the addition. So we can simply typecast this into int, right? Now tell me what is going to be the output. Yes, since we have typecasted this to integer data type, so our type is integer. Okay, input command. Take. Okay. So here you can see that first we have printed the type. Since x is of integer type, the output is going to be int, and this y is of float type, the output is going to be float, right? And here converting string to integer, as you can see this z is 100, but it is of string type. Why? Because we are using this inverted comma, so it is of string type, and this string can be converted to integer by using this int. Okay, now here you need to remember that if you are typecasting something into something else, I mean, if from one type to another type, it should be compatible. It is not like you have written some maybe characters or some string like hello, hi, and that you are trying to convert into integer. I mean, that is not possible. In that case, you can get error. So you should make sure that I mean, whenever you are performing the typecasting, it should be compatible to it. Okay, I mean, in whatever type you are trying to convert it, it should be compatible to that particular type. So here, the next one you can see that even it is of string data type, still it is compatible. I mean, if we convert it into integer, it is compatible to it. So we can directly convert it into integer type, and then we can add, I mean, we can perform all the operation on it. And similarly here, in order to convert from integer to float, what we can do, we can simply use this float type. Similar to integer, we can use float. And fail and can't convert, here you can see that, as I have already explained, that if we are converting something to something else, we should make sure that it is compatible to that particular type. So if we try to convert this hello into integer, it will throw an error because it is not compatible to integer, right? So that is one point. Okay, now let's start with the second assignment. We discussed the first assignment in last class. Let's discuss this one now. So the first question is, ask the user for their marks using input. As you know, we have this input function that is used to take the input from the user and convert it into integer, add 5 bonus marks, and print the result. So this is your first task. You have to take the input from the user, convert that input into integer type, and then add 5 bonus marks, and then print it. Write your code in the chat.
Oh, ma'am, your voice, you're not audible actually. You are muted.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so now we are discussing second question. Fine. So the second question is, you have to create a list, a tuple, a set, and a dictionary, each with three items about yourself and print type of each. So here, instead of creating everything at once, we will start with the list. Create a list. Okay. Write something. Have. Create a list of three items and write something about you, and then print the type of this list and tell me what is the result of it, and write the code also how you are creating the list, so that uh, just for the hands-on practice of everything. So first create a list and print the type of it. Eh, Divyansh, that's not how we create list. No, no. Okay. Divyansh, please check again. See the syntax to create the list or tuple or set. It is here. Okay. So in order to create list, you use this bracket, and for the tuple this one, and this is how you create set, and this is for dictionary. Okay. Okay. Student list, maths, print type of list. Okay. Type student list. Okay. Okay. Type of L. Pari, can you play? Can you paste answers also? I mean, whatever code you guys are writing, please make sure that you are running these codes in your ID, so that parallelly you can see what is the output of everything. So along with your code, paste the output as well. Okay, let's discuss this one, Kavya's code. So what she has done, first she has created a student list. Okay, correct. And in order to create this list, she has used this bracket, and inside this we have different subjects. Then she has created this tuple. In order to create the tuple, we are using this bracket. Fine. And then the third one is a set. Okay. Inside the set, we cannot have duplicate. Okay. Just make sure that whatever you are writing inside a, I mean, whatever you will write inside a set, it is going to be unique. Okay. Even if you are pushing a single value multiple times, still it is going to hold it once. And then the last one is dictionary. And for dictionary, she has created name, student, and grade is 10, and subject is computer science, which is correct. Since all the keys are unique, okay, that is the condition for this dictionary. The key should be unique, and here you can see that all the keys are unique, and along with these keys, we have values. So, student is associated with name, and then 10 is associated with this grade, and computer science is associated with this subject. Okay. Now, once you will print this, sorry, once you will print the answer of this, uh, I think she has repeated the code. Okay. Kavya, can you please print the output also? You have pasted the same answer twice. Okay, let's discuss these two. So Guranj has created first a list, then a dictionary. Okay, here, then created this set. Okay, and then printed the type of everything. Okay, guys, just make sure that whatever code you are writing, you are also running these code on your ID so that you can see the output. Okay, let me just write it for you. So I'm taking an example of list here, XYZ, ABC, and then we have maybe some numbers, and now I will try to print this. Okay, and we will print the type of it, and you can see it is printing list. Okay, now if instead of list I am using tuple, you can see now it is printing tuple. Okay, now if we create it as a set, you can see the output is set. Okay, so you should you should see something similar as your output, right? Yes. So as Kavya has pasted the uh, type of list, it is going to be something similar to this class and list type, and then the next one is tuple, third one is set, and fourth one is dictionary. Okay. So in question, it asks you to create list, tuple, set, and dictionary, and then paste the type of each, right? Okay. So I think this one is clear to everyone. Can we move to the next question? Or if you have any doubt in this one, we can discuss. Okay, let's move to the next question. So, okay, so we have Boolean. I think we discussed something similar to this in the last session also. So, if we try to print Boolean, this inverted comma, and then Boolean 0, and then Boolean hello, and then Boolean 42, tell me what is going to be the output of each statement. So first, let's discuss this boolean. Let's just print this. Just tell me the output of everything. Okay. Boolean this is false. Boolean 0 is also false. Boolean hello is true, and Boolean 42 is also true. Okay. All false, true, true. Okay, so as many of you already pasted, the answer for the first statement is false, and for the second statement, it is also false. The third statement is true, and the last statement is also true. Okay, I think Boolean is clear to all of you. Okay, fine. Okay, now just explain what is the difference between these two statements. 10 and then this slash and 3 and then 10 2 times slash and 3. Do you know what is the difference between both these statements? Okay, I think most of you already know what is this. 10 divided by 3, normal division. And this one, okay. So Cavalier has written 10 divided by 3 is division, return output in float. Yes, correct. And 10 2 times slash 3, it is floor division, correct? So returns output in int. Removes any decimal points. Yes, correct. Will perform normal division and return. Okay, and will perform floor division and round down. The nearest integer. Here it will be 3. Okay. Slash perform standard mathematical division. The double for slash perform flow division, also known as. Yes, Ahana. Hello.
Floor division and normal division.
Yeah, correct. So this first single slash is your normal division, where you get the float as your output in case of 10 divided by 3, and in case of this one double slash, this is a floor division, basically whatever is the floor value. So in this case, since the output is 3.33, it will round off to 3, which is the nearest integer. Okay. I hope it is clear to all of you. We are clear till this point. Okay, before we move to the next part, which is string, we are going to discuss string in more detail. I would like to ask a small question to all of you. Do you know what is this post incrementation or pre incrementation, or maybe post decrementation or pre decrementation? Any of you know what is the difference between this post incrementation and pre incrementation? Any of you know? Uh, this is just an add-on topic. I mean, obviously, Python do not support this post incrementation and pre-incrementation. That is why I have not kept it into the lectures. But I mean, in other languages, if you learn Java, C++, or any other language, there you will find the concept of this post and pre-incrementation, decrementation. So I think you should be aware of the functioning of these operators. So if any of you know anything, you can share. Else, I will explain. hmm Python doesn't have plugins because they are considered when they say Python. Integrated language. Instead of modifying the number in place, this music code. Okay. Okay. Well, in 3.5 and integration test for optimized example. Okay, Kavya, I mean, obviously, I know that in Python it do not support. I just want to understand the functioning of this. I mean, if we talk about the other languages, uh, just the functioning, how exactly it works. Post increment return the value and then increase by 1. Pre increment does the opposite. Okay. Now I'm actually. Hey, hi Myra. So till now we have discussed not much. We have just discussed brief of what we covered in the last class, that data type and variable and all. And after that we have done one assignment. Okay, covering all the topics that we have done previously. And now we are discussing what is post and pre-incrementation and decrementation. Uh, Even though it is not part of Python, still just want to understand the functioning of it. Okay. So Arnav has written A is equal to 5, B, okay. B will be 6 and A will be 6 pre-increment. Okay. A is equal to 5, B is equal to this, B will be 5 and A will be 6 post increment. Okay. In other languages, plus the increments a number before using it, while the uses the number first. and then increment it. These are just shortcuts, but they often cause right and avoidant. Okay, you can add Natik. Okay. Natik, you can discuss with Ashwini for any query related to group or any other assignment. Okay, so as you can see in another example, uh, for what he has done, he took one variable a and assigned a value to it, and then what he is doing, he assigned the value of a into a new variable which is b. But here, instead of directly assigning the value of a into this b, he is doing, he is pre-incrementing the value. Okay, so what happened in pre-incrementation, whenever you're performing the pre-incrementation, it happens in the same line. Okay, so here, since it is incrementing the value of a first and then assigning it to b, so what is happening, first it is becoming from 5 to 6, and then this value is being assigned to b, right? So this is the operation of pre-incrementation. But what is happening in case of post-incrementation? So as you can see in the next example, the value of a is equal to 5. But what he is doing? First, it is assigning the value of a to b, right? So b becomes 5, and after assigning the value, it is incrementing it. So from 5, it is becoming 6 in the next line, not in the same line. So whatever value we have assigned to b, it has not incremented first. So after assigning the value from the next line, it is incrementing the value of a. Okay, so that is why the value of b is equal to 5 and value of a is equal to 6. Yes, Kavya?
I've actually sent a code in the language C, relate like an example of them with
Okay.
the nodes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Use then change. Okay. So you can see as in Kavya's code. So what is happening? First use then change. So first it is assigning the value of I into b into a into a new variable, and then it is incrementing it. Okay. And similarly, in the next one for the j, we have a value as 5. And first, what it is doing, it is incrementing the value of j and assigning it to b, right? So in the same line, this assignment and implementation both are happening. But in case of post incrementation or post decrementation, first it will assign, and then from the next line it will increment or decrement it. Okay. Okay, let me ask few question and you tell me. Okay. Now tell me line by line what is the output of every variable. So here first we have assigned the value of a is equal to 5. Now tell me what is the value of b and a also. So in this line I will print both. Tell me what is the value of a and value of b here. In the first line, okay, a and b will be 4. So value of a is equal to, you are saying value of a will be 4 and value of b is also 4, right? A is equal to 4, b is equal to 4. Okay, fine. Now tell me the next line. What is this? What is the value of c and b? What is the value of c and b? C is equal to 5, b is also equal to 5. Okay. Let's wait for some more answers. Tarisha, please paste your answer. And mine is showing syntax error. Okay, Kavya, where are you trying? I mean, C++? The code will crash. No, okay. Kavya, I mean, we have already discussed that this post and pre-incrementation do not support in Python. So, I mean, just for the understanding purpose, we are discussing this. I mean, this is not the part of Python. In the part, it will be syntax error. Guys, don't worry about the syntax and everything. Just tell me the answer. I just want to understand how this post and pre-incrementation works. I mean, here for the clarity, I just tell you there's no syntax error. I mean, we are not discussing about syntax here. We are discussing about logic. So as per the logic, tell me what is the output of C and P. Just Kavya, try to run it in C, Java, C++, anywhere. Both will be 5. Okay. Both will be. Guys, we are discussing line by line. So first we discussed for this line. Okay. Now we are discussing for this one. Okay. For this C. So C is equal to plus BB. Now tell me what is the output here. Okay, Cavalier has written B is equal to 6 and D is equal to 5. Okay. Cavalier, we are discussing about third line, this one. When we will move to this one, then I think we can discuss this. For now, we are discussing about this third line. Okay. For the first, what happened? We have assigned this value 5 to A. Now in the next line, we are incrementing value of A in the same line. So B will be 4. Sorry, we are decrementing value here. So B has become 4 and A is also 4. Okay. Now what will happen here? Tell me. What is going to be the value of C and B? Uh, Guransh, we are discussing logic. I mean, if you are trying to run this on Python, obviously it is going to give you error because uh, Python do not support this pre and post incrementation operator. If you want to check, you can use other programming languages. Let me open Java for you or C++. Okay, now suppose this is the code. Int is equal to 5. Okay, int is equal to 5. Now we have one new variable and here you are doing this. Let me just print this here. Okay, so what we are doing, we took a new variable b and inside this b we are pre-decrementing the value of a. Now if I print in C++, you print like this. Okay, Now tell me what is going to be the output of this. Uh, A is equal to 4, B is equal to 4. Yes. So what we are doing first, we have this value of A as 5, and then we took a new variable B, and inside this B, what we are doing pre-decrementing. Okay, so by using this pre-decrementation, the value of A is becoming 4, and then that value is being assigned inside this into this B variable. Okay, so when we are trying to print this A and B, we are getting the output as 4 and 4, right? Now let's check for the next statement. Here what we are doing, again we took a new, we have taken this new variable, right? Inside this variable what we are doing, pre-incrementing the value of B. Okay, now if I try to print uh, this C and B, tell me the output. Okay, so Kavya has written 4 4 and 5 5. Yes, correct. I hope I mean it is not very complicated for you to understand. Let's just discuss one more, and then we can move to the next concept. So here, when we assign the inside this D, now tell me the output. Okay, so value of D is 5 and value of B is 6. So what is happening, since here the value of B is 4, right? And here we are incrementing the value of B, which is again 5, and here the value of B will become 6. But since we are assigning this 5 to this D before incrementing it, so value of D is 5, but value of B is 6. Okay, so that you can see in the output. Just one more question. Uh, Suppose I am printing the value of this A post incrementation here. Can you tell me what is the output of this? So I have assigned this value 5 to this variable, and then I'm performing the post incrementation, and in the same line I'm printing it. So what do you think, what is the value of this? Okay. And what if I do this? Okay, fine. Yes, correct. So, I mean, if we are incrementing and printing in the same line, and if it is a pre-incrementation, it will increment it and print it. And if we are printing and performing a post-incrementation, then first it will print this value, and from the next statement, it will increment the value. So, which is correct? Okay. I think this much is clear. So now we can move to the next part. Okay. I think in the last session also we discussed a bit about string. Okay, we can start with the introduction only. Tell me what is the string data type, and we also discussed about character. So start with the character. What do you understand by character, and how a string is built using the characters? So just give me a brief of what and brief of your understanding. Any of you would like to explain? Anyone? Yes, Kavya.
A character is a single discrete unit of data such as letter, digit or a symbol.
Okay.
But a string by definition is an ordered sequence of these characters forming text such as words or sentences.
Mm-hmm. Okay, correct. Strings are number, letters, symbol, inclusion codes. Okay. Um, so Kavya, can you, I mean, do you think we can iterate a string similar to list and tuple? Like, is it ordered? Can we access it using the index? A string is a sequence of characters used to represent text. Yes, correct. It is a sequence of text characters. A string is a sequence of character. It is immutable. Okay, I am not asking about, I mean, I'm not asking you to change the string, just for the access purpose. Like, if I have a string, suppose your name, Raj. Can I access what is at the index 0 or what is at the index 5? Is it possible to access it using the indexes? Okay. Hmm. Okay. So just think of string like a train. As in train, we have different compartments. Similarly, here a string is built by using characters. So we have multiple characters, and by collecting or adding all those characters, strings are formed. And similar to train, if I want to access a coach, okay, or a compartment, I can access by the compartment number. Similarly, if I want to access any uh, character from the string, I can access it by using the index. Okay, so for example, if I want to access the first compartment, I will use the first index, which is index 0, and for the second compartment, I can use the next index. Okay, so similar to, and you can think of it like a train. So similar to train, we can have the strings, which is built by using array of characters. Okay, now okay, here you can see a small question is written. If Python is a train, what is at the index 0? So tell me what is at the index 0. You can speak directly. Don't wait for my. Yes, Guranj.
If Python was a train,
Uh-huh.
so if Python was the name of the train we are referring to,
Mm-hmm.
so at index 0 would be P,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and -1 would be N.
Yes. Okay. So as Guranj has explained, since index starts from 0, so at index P, we have the first compartment or first coach or first character, which is P in our case, and -1 is from the reverse when we start indexing from the reverse. Okay, so from the front, we start the indexing uh, from 0. Okay, we start the indexing from 0. But if we talk about reverse, if you want to go in reverse order, then we start from -1. So -1 is the first element from the reverse. So in this case, n is the first character or -1 index element. So it will return n. Let's discuss some of the first discuss this indexing and slicing in case of string. So first, here we have first character. Okay, this is the string Python. Now, if I try to print what is at index 0, it will print this p, and if I try to print at index -1, so it will start from the reverse. -1 means we are starting from the reverse, and from the start if we start from the front, then it starts with 0, but from the backside it starts from -1. Okay, so -1 is the first character, so it will print n as the output. Okay, now if I talk about slicing, this slicing is used in Python majorly. In other languages you might not see this particular operation, but here in Python it is very much used. So what happens here, it takes three arguments. The first one is the start index, the second one is the stop index, and the third one is step. Okay, so what is step? How many steps you are taking? Like for example, if I talk about Python, and I'm starting from the index 0 and I'm going till index maybe 5. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going till the 5, and in every iteration I want to take, maybe I want to make one step or maybe two step. Okay, so if I'm making one step, so after P it will go to Y, then after Y it will go to T, and then H, O, N similarly. But if I'm taking two steps, then what will happen after Y? After P, it will skip Y, and then on the second step, it will reach to this T. So it will print this T, and then again for the two steps, it will ignore this H and go to O. So it will start taking two steps. Okay, and on the second step, it will print something. Now similarly, if suppose I'm taking three steps, then after P, it will ignore this Y and T and directly jump to H. And similarly, after H, it will print, it will ignore O and N and move to the next, last variable if there is any. Since here we do not have any variable, it will stop here at H. Fine. And one more point, this start is inclusive. Inclusive means if I am starting from zeroth index, so it will consider the element that is present at that index. For example, here if I have given 0 to 5, so it will include 0 if I'm trying to print something from this index. Okay, so it will include this one, this particular element. But if I am but whatever index I am taking here at the top, that is exclusive means we are not including that, we have excluded that particular index. So if I am taking from 0 to 5, so it will go to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it will exclude the index 5. Okay, so this start index is inclusive in nature, but this stop index is exclusive in nature. And steps I've already explained that based on the step size it will take the step. Okay, and here you can see if I'm printing something and I have given zeroth index, start index and ending index. So what it will do, it will start from the zeroth index and then go till this third index. Since third index is not inclusive in nature, so it will go from P, Y, T. So it will go till this second index, 0, 1, 2. Okay, and it will exclude this third index. So the answer is P, Y, T. Similarly, here we are printing what we are doing. Okay, here you can see that we have two this column. So what it will do, here we are not mentioning any, if you see this two column, it means it is starting from the first and going till the last, since we are not mentioning the start index and end index, and this third index is directly considering as these steps. Okay, so what it will do, it will take every second index and it will take two steps. So it will start from the first index and then ignore the second index, and then again it will go to T and then ignore this H, and then it will take O, as you can see in the answer also, and then again ignore N and move to the last index. Okay, and that's how this one works. And then the last one, since we are taking negative number, so it will start from the back side. Okay, so it will start from here and it will go one by one. Okay, start from this index and it will go one by one. Okay, so wherever you will see this negative value, it means it's starting from the back side. Okay, so what happens if you are mentioning, let me just show you. Suppose I have a string. Subject Python. Okay, and I try to print I want to start from 0th index and I want to go till 3rd index. Okay, you can see it will start from the 1st index and go till 2nd index. 0th index, 1st index and 2nd index. Since 3rd index is exclusive in nature, it will ignore this one. Okay, now suppose if I write 1, it means we are starting from the 1st index instead of 0th index. So here you can see it is only printing y and t, okay, and not from the 0. So like whatever starting index we are mentioning, it will start from there only. And here you can see we can take the steps also. So if I'm giving 3 arguments, it means the first one is start index, second one is the stop index, and the last one is the step size. And if suppose I'm not giving first index and not second index, in that case you will see these these two columns. And also if you are not passing this first one and you're only passing two parameters and there's only one semicolon, it means you're passing the first index and the last index. Okay, and suppose you have only one semicolon and you're not passing anything at the start, so what it will do by default, it will start from the first index. For example, here if I will try to print this, so it is starting from the 0th index going to 1 index, since second is the exclusive in nature. So it will take only 0 and 1. Okay, and it is printing it. Here suppose if I take 4, so it will start from the 0th index and go till the 3rd index and print everything. Now suppose if I take, maybe I'm starting from the 1st index and I'm not taking this last index. What will happen? In that case, it will start from the 1st index and go till the end. Okay, you can see that except this p, since I'm starting from the 1st index, so it has started printing from this y and go till the end of the string. Okay, because we have not mentioned anything at the end. So basically how this slicing works, we have 3 variable, in short 3 parameters. First one is start. Okay, start, then stop, and then we have step. Okay, this start is inclusive in nature, stop is exclusive in nature, and step is based on the step it takes the step. Okay, it moves. If we have not passed any step, it means if your uh, slicing looks something like this, in this case by default step size is 1, so it will take every element. Now if you're not taking the first start index, so what it will do, simply start from the 0th index. Now if you have the first index but do not have the stop index, so it will start from the start index and go till the end. Okay, the end of the string. Now if you are not taking both start index and stop index, uh, okay, in that case you're only taking step. In this case what it will do, it will start from the it will take this step and from the start till the end. Okay, since you're not mentioning start and end index, it will cover everything. So this is how your slicing and indexing works. Okay, uh, next, we are discussing some of the functions of strings. So the first you can see message.strip. Basically, you can use this strip function to strip whatever blank spaces you have in the front and in the back. For example, here before this h you can see, and before this and after this word, you can see that we have few blank spaces. So if you want to remove all these blank spaces in Python, you can use this function, dot strip function. Okay, before everything, there's one function called as length function. Okay, so we have this. Okay, first function is your length function. We are printing, if we have to print the length of this subject, so how many characters we have here in Python? So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so this length function will print the length of this variable, this subject variable, how many characters this subject variable have. It will print it. So you can see, since the length of this string is 6, so it is printing 6 as the answer. Now we will take all the function one by one. So suppose here I took 1 2 spaces here, okay, and 1 2 spaces here. It means we have in total 4 spaces, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. So tell me now what is going to be the output of this if I print this length. I have this variable subject, and here in this subject, first what I have done, took two blank two spaces, and then Python, then again two spaces, and then this is the string. So what is going to be the output if we try to print the length of this? What is the output? Okay. So you guys are writing 10. Okay. Yeah, it is correct. 10. Now tell me what I do if I try to print this. Now suppose if I try to print this subject dot strip. Now tell me what is going to be the output of this print. So subject, we have first stripped this, and then we are printing the length. Advika has written 6, Guransh has written 8. Why is it 8, Guransh?
Sorry, I wanted to write 6.
Okay. Okay, just one question. What do you think, if we have any space in between, will it remove that? So suppose I have something like Python, and then maybe 5 spaces I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have Java. So what do you think? Will it, do you think this strip will remove this blank space? So initially we have 2 spaces, and in the back also we have 2 spaces. Here we have 5 spaces, and then we have this Python and Java. So what do you think, will this strip remove these spaces or not? Kaveh is saying no. Okay, guys, if you're confused, just write this in your ID and check what is the answer, and based on the answer you will know what I mean, whether it will remove in between spaces or not. So as Kavya has written, yes, it will not remove the in-between spaces. It will only remove the starting and ending spaces. So the output is going to be this 6 and 4, 10, and then this space. So it will be 15. Okay. Okay, so this is the first function, strip. The next one is the upper. So what is this upper function? Basically, it converts all the characters from the uh, small letters to capital letter. Okay. Let me just show you an example. So suppose I only have this. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are using this function and now printing it. So you can see that it has converted everything to upper character. Okay, now suppose I have a character which is already upper character, so it is not going to impact my answer. Okay, so if I have any small character, any character in small letter, it will convert to the capital letter. Okay, this function, and similar to upper function, we have this lower function which will convert all the capital letter to small letter. Okay, now so this these two are easy one. The third one is the replace function. Basically, if you want to replace any string or any character from your string, that you can do by using this replace function. I'll just show you. So inside this Python, suppose you want to replace. What do you want to replace? Maybe you want to replace P with N or maybe Z. Okay. So here you can see that this P has it has become it became this Zython. Okay, it has replaced this P uh, from this Z. So this is why we use this replace function. And after this replace function, we have the next function which is split. Okay, and inside this split function, we also pass a parameter which is basically based on what you want to split your character. So here we have given this comma. For example, if I want to split maybe wherever we have y, we want to split it. Okay, so I can give it here. Maybe I also have this y. So once you run this, okay, not replace. Okay, here you can see everywhere where we have y, it has used this y as a split parameter. So here after p we have this y, so after this y it has splitted this string. So we have one p, and then due to this split parameter, we have this th, and then after that also we have a y. So after this y, it will split this one, and as an output, we can have this array of characters, array of strings. Okay, so basically, this split function is used to whenever we have some problem where we want to split our string based on some character, we can use this function. So generally, for example, if I have so many, um, I have a big string. I am a string something, and you want to have all the strings and you want to split it based on the space. Okay, so you can simply pass this, and in this way you will get all the strings in the form of an array. Okay, so this was the next function. So we have discussed strip function, then upper and lower function, and upper and lower to convert from capital to small or small to capital. And then we have this replace function, which is used to replace any character or any string. Okay. So in this we pass which string we want to replace and from which string we want to replace. Okay. So it basically takes two parameters. So whichever we want to replace and from which string we want to replace. And then we have this split function. This split function takes a single input, and that input is based on which character you want to split. So in our example, we took y, and and then in the next example we took space as the split parameter. So you can use any parameter to split a string. Okay. Now we have this next last character. Basically, if you want to check if a string is present in a string, for that we can use this in variable or in keyword. Okay, so for example, here it is written as hello world, and inside this hello world you want to check if free is there or not in this string. Okay, so what you can do, you can simply check if free included in this message or not. It will simply print true or false. Okay, so since free is not there in this message, it will print false, but if free is present here in this message, it will print it as true. Okay, this is the basically way to figure out if any string is present or not. So we have discussed some of the functions of the string. There are some more functions that you can maybe explore from your end, and there are infinite number of functions, so you can explore. And but some of the major functions that we use in coding that I've already discussed here, and you can go through the remaining part. Okay, so next one is this assignment. So, okay, since we are already out of time, you can take the screenshot of this assignment, and in the next class we can start from here. Okay, just take a screenshot of it, and we can start our discussion from this assignment in the next class. Okay, I hope it is done. You all. Okay, so we can start. We can continue in the next class. We'll leave the class. Yes,
Ma'am,
yes, you
so
can.
this is the assignment needs to be submitted.
No, no, I will. No, no, I will discuss in the next class.
Achha,
You don't need to
okay.
submit.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.